You remember how yesterday we told you that on the one side, the PDP has said former President Goodluck Jonathan hadn't gotten a form from them, talking about the wiki-led PDP. And then on the other hand, we told you that Seyi Makinde, the governor of Oyo State, was going to declare his intention to participate in the 2027 election. He wants the role of a president. He wants to take President Tinubu's seat, his position. Is what he said openly in Ibadan today. And this is the most talked about gist on X. I can tell you that it's practically breaking the net. Now, this is the bone of contention. Others are saying this has practically split the Southwest into two. If Seyi Makinde is going to run, he's definitely going to be seizing or stealing or taking some votes away from President Bola Tinubu, who is also of the Southwestern extraction. Some are saying, is this the trump card that the opposition party is playing? Is this probably one of the things they talked about during the Ibadan convention that Seyi Makinde hosted? That convention, it was declared, actually it's called the Ibadan Declaration, that one candidate was going to come from the opposition parties, all opposition parties put together. But that it doesn't look like that's going to happen because we have several of the opposition candidates, declaring today, submitting their forms and all of that. We're going to be taking a look at that one after the other. Others are saying, what happens to Atiku now? Because there were permutations that Seyi Makinde was going to deputize former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who makes no bones about his ambition, his life ambition to become Nigeria's president. So this is how it's playing out online. Let's do this one step after the other, right? Walk with me. This is the first post. Oyo Governor Seyi Makinde announces 2027 presidential bid with APM. That's a clincher, not on the PDP, but on a PDP APM platform, is what he said. Makinde, who has led Oyo State since 2019 under the PDP, announced his candidacy with the Allied People's Movement, APM, during a unity mega rally that also unveiled an alliance with a PDP faction. That would be the Turaki-led faction, who happens to be a Makinde ally. The deal lets his loyalists contest Oyo seats on the APM ticket amid local party infighting. Known for infrastructure and education gains, the 55-year-old engineer frames his bid as the Reset Nigeria movement, drawing cheers from supporters while analysts eye its impact on Southwest politics ahead of primaries. There's a video. Take a listen.
Announce my candidacy for the position of the president of the Republic of Nigeria.
Words he said just towards, the last sentence. He said, under the platform of the PDP APM movement. Now, you wouldn't have heard that because that was drowned by the loud cheer coming from the huge crowd in that stadium. So that's it. That's what's trending right now. This has sent jitters down the spines of some APC fans. With people like someone like Bashir, okay, pardon me. Some people deciding to post not just once, but twice regarding what she has just done. Now, people are doing the math on X, and you're going to be taking a look at the reactions. They're saying, okay, so if he takes this number of votes, how many is left for President Tinubu? And all of that. So let me take you back to X now so you see how netizens are reacting. So Premier says Seyi Makinde has declared interest to contest, or his interest to contest for the presidency under APM. He is going to win Oyo State. Tinubu is not left with 2 to 4 states out of 6 states in the Southwest. If Tinubu works with Adeleke, he is going to win 4 states. If not, Tinubu has only 3 states in the Southwest. And it doesn't look like the president is working with the governor of Osun State, Ademola Adeleke, as we speak, who also decamped not too long ago from the PDP to another party, Accord, and not even the APC. Now, Bashir Ahmed, this is an APC member, a former presidential aide. He was aide to the late President Muhammadu Buhari, and he's currently an APC member and a President Tinubu ally. He says, I initially thought Peter Obi and Senator Kwankwaso started having issues with the ADC because of the Ibadan declaration. Remember what that was? That one candidate was going to come from the opposition extraction. Bashir goes on to say that he thought Obi and Senator Kwankwaso had left the ADC because the speculation that Governor Seyi Makinde could emerge as Atiku's preferred running mate, which obviously pushed them away from the party. That was what he thought. But now he thinks differently. He goes on to say, now, interestingly, Makinde himself has declared interest in the presidency under the PDP APM. There are more reactions. Let's continue to take a look at them. This is Uplove, who says, Oyo just entered the presidential race. Gov. Seyi Makinde is the candidate and the party is APM. I think the reason for this is to protect all his National Assembly candidates. GSM Nasabi player. Now, all his candidates are going to be contesting under the platform of the APM, the new party he just joined forces with. Now, take a look at this. Bashir Ahmad again says, I just read that Governor Seyi Makinde has declared his intention to contest for the presidency in 2027 general elections. Well, for our great party, the APC, the more, the merrier. Premier again says Seyi Makinde will clear all the local government areas in Oyo State as a presidential candidate. Do not allow Oyo APC members who are naturally unpopular at home to tell you otherwise. Makinde beat them with 150,000 margin in 2019 and 300,000 margin in 2023. He is the most popular man alive in the state, talking about Oyo State. Now, this is Emiode Mba who says, May is for mayhem. Permutations, boys. How's the family? Ah, gosh. And there are more reactions. This one now is going to be coming from another person who is very active online, talking about permutations. This is the latest permutation in town, especially on Xville. They are saying that the sitting governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, who once upon a time was supposed to have defected to the ADC, but was cornered by the APC, tried to go into the APC, didn't make it to the APC, and finally defected to the APM. Permutation is he's going to be Seyi Makinde's running mate. So Mama T says, finally, Seyi Bala Bala is here to stay. That's one trending hashtag right now, I can tell you. Seyi Bala Bala 2027, according to Mama T, a new dawn, a stronger Nigeria. Experience, integrity, compassion, vision, action, results. Engineer Seyi Makinde and Senator Bala Mohammed. So that's the ticket now that people are predicting is going to come from this alliance between the PDP and the APM. Mind you, Bala Mohammed recently defected from the PDP to the APM. And Seyi Makinde looks like he just did the same, only that he's saying that, this is a PDP-APM coalition. So it's a planned work. People are saying that this is some serious mathematics. Admas, if you want to say. But hey, there are more reactions. We can take a look at them now. It is hashtag Seyi Makinde. Donaza says, very good. Please pick Bala Mohammed as your running mate to reduce the chances of two disasters. Nigeria will be okay. You know what OK stands for, right? It's the Obi Kwankwaso ticket. There are more reactions. We can take a look at them. It is hashtag Seyi Makinde. Oloye says, a true son of Ibadan. Retiring to the Senate is relegating yourself to just hold onto political relevance. And then Oloye is saying that Seyi Tinubu is not going to be having that. She goes on to say, I'll be voting for Obi, but if I had a second place vote, it will go to Makinde. We're going to take a look at the reactions. It looks like Sheyi Makinde is popular on X at the moment because, I mean, it basically, if you go there, this is how the thread looks like. One more, and then we'll wrap it up and move on to the next hashtag. It is hashtag Sheyi Makinde. You know how netizens are saying, so what happens to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar? I mean, they went to Niger State together. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and Oyo State Governor Sheyi Makinde had traveled to Niger State sometime last year, to visit the former head of state, military leader Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, aka Maradona. And former Ekiti State Governor Ayo Fayose took it upon himself to tell Nigerians, because it's a closed-door meeting. I mean, they didn't tell the media what they were there for. But Ayo Fayose seemed to know, and he said it was all about 2027 and all that. They were cooking stuff up. And then not too long after that, there was the Ibadan convention, and you had the likes of Atiku Abubakar, David Mark, Peter Obi, Kwankwaso, Amechi, and all of the big wigs in the opposition parties, various opposition parties, all converged on Ibadan, your state capital, to give the APC a run for its money in 2027. So it looked like people were saying it was going to be an Atiku Makinde ticket, but that really has been shelved, as we say it, because people are saying, hey, Sheyi Makinde just threw Atiku under the bus. In fact, there's one of the responses where one of the netizens was saying that, hey, Sheyi Makinde, will probably be laughing at Atiku at the moment. This is Filmlex, who says, Sheyi Makinde, who totally transformed Oyo State, is contesting for presidency too. Someone reliable to count on. I need to get my PVC. This coming election seems interesting. So again, some netizens are asking, what happens to Atiku? Well, talking about Atiku, why don't we take a look at the next hashtag? It is hashtag Atiku. So the ADC chieftain, formerly of the PDP extraction, formerly of the ABC extraction, former vice president, today submitted his form. Officially is in the race. Remember how much he bought that form? 90 million naira. Just 10 million naira less than what President Tinubu bought his form for. That's how it's being played in Nigeria, I can tell you. They're calling it money politics. Talking about money politics, there's going to be a money rain, hashtag money rain down the line at some point. So you want to keep your fingers crossed. So today, Atiku submitted his form, and there was actually fanfare. Yeah, fanfare greeted that occasion. So I take you to X now. There's a post, and of course, Atiku Abubakar himself, who is very active on X, put up a post, and of course, a video. First, Atiku Abubakar submits presidential nomination form at African Democratic Congress headquarters in Abuja. You do know that David Mark is currently the interim chairman of the party, the embattled party. And of course, you have former Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola as the national secretary. Well, that's by the way. Now, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar formally submitted his presidential nomination form for the 2027 election at the National Secretariat of the African Democratic Congress in Abuja. Supporters gathered in large numbers as he arrived to file the paperwork. The submission marks a key step in his candidacy. Now, let's take a look at the tweet that Atiku Abubakar himself put up. Yeah, thank you. Atiku Abubakar says, the march to restore prosperity and better days to our beloved nation took a firm and decisive step forward today at the National Secretariat of our great party, the African Democratic Congress. This is more than a political journey. It is a national movement rooted in hope, renewal, and the collective resolve to save Nigeria from despair. I call on all Nigerians, regardless of region, faith, or background, to join us in this noble cause. Together, we will restore the promise of our nation and bring good times back again. That's signed Atiku Abubakar. He put up a video. Take a look.
Sabi? Sabi?
There you go. Huge crowd. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has submitted his nomination form and he wants to run in 2027. So already you're going to be having President Tinubu, of course, who wants a second term, the governor of Oyo State, Makinde, that's if he doesn't step down before the contest. And then you have former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Of course, Peter Obi is already, hey, heads in, hands in, and all of that. And of course, Amechi is in because the next hashtag is going to be Amechi, who also submitted his form today. But netizens are being very savage online. I can promise you that right now. I mean, you can go through the thread, the responses, and it can take you minutes to find something positive. But I struggle to get a number of responses. I got like 3 of them. Why don't we quickly take a look at them? It's just like a microcosm of how it's playing out at the moment. Uche Ndukwe Victor says, this is the only match that we Nigerians trust. Any other match is not valid. Nigeria must be okay. The next one. Bulus Paul says, this election is between 2 politicians and political parties. Any other candidate is just wasting his time in the field. Let's meet in the campaign field. And basically he's saying it's just going to be between the APC and the NDC, talking about President Tinubu versus Peter Obi. That's what Bulus Paul says. Let's take a look at what the next netizen is going to be saying, and then we'll wrap this up. So Emmanuel, a boy, says, so you and Obi cannot sit in a room and decide to cooperate to liberate Nigeria. Nigerians are dying. They see hope in you both. Obi, they go one way. Good luck. Nah, I don't even have words for him. You just do your own. Kwankwaso, nobody understands him. And then Emmanuel, a boy, goes on to pray sincerely to God that he would raise leaders who know what it means to sacrifice for their people. I think I have one more here who's talking about, that's it. That's Bulus Paul again, who says, NDC and their supporters will copy virtually everything Atiku Abubakar is doing, and the next few days start theirs. And it goes on to say, articulated 2027. With the screenshot, leadership isn't copied. Articulates, others follow. That's according to Bulus Paul. Apparently, he is articulated. On that note, we move on to the next hashtag, which is still related to 2027, and it is hashtag Amechi. So Rotimi Amechi, former transport minister under the Buhari government, as a civilian, not the Buhari regime, a Buhari government, if you will. Former River State governor, former godfather to Nyesom Wike, also wants to become president on the platform of the ADC. He also submitted his form today, I take it to X now, so you see the very first post. And of course, Rotimi Amechi himself put up something on X. We'll take a look at that, and we'll also see how netizens are responding. Amechi submits nomination for 2027 Nigerian presidency with ADC. The former Rivers State Governor and Transportation Minister submitted his 90 million naira nomination forms to the African Democratic Congress on Thursday, vowing to restore dignity, unity, peace, prosperity, and progress to Nigeria. Backers who purchased the forms earlier praised his experience in security and infrastructure from his time as governor from 2007 to 2015 and minister until 2022. ADC, now led by David Mark and attracting names like Atiku Abubakar, sees this as a milestone toward national renewal ahead of its May 25 presidential primary. It's not too far from now, it's just days away. Let's take a look at the post Amechi himself put up. So Amechi says, this is Chibike Amechi. Today, I submitted my presidential nomination forms at the ADC Secretariat, officially throwing my heart in the ring to salvage our country, Nigeria. The mission is clear. We will fight to restore dignity to Nigerians, make our country great and respected in the Committee of Nations, and bring unity, peace, prosperity, and progress to our people. Arise and shine. That's the slogan that the ADC is known for. There are reactions to this one. Let's take a look at how netizens are responding to Rotimi Amechi's candidacy. Kings says, everybody wants to salvage Nigeria. The question is, what did you do when you had the opportunity years back? What a rhetoric. David Ishola says, birds of the same feather. And then he goes on to say, Amechi and his ADC handlers are just recycling the same old politicians. And then he goes on to say, well, let's skip that and go to what God's plan is saying. It's actually a question. God's plan says, Tinubu, he says this is what Tinubu is known for, tax reforms. Obi, consumption to production. That's according to God's plan. Atiku, privatization. Your Excellency, what is yours? At the risk of playing the devil's advocate, how about revitalizing Nigeria's railway system when it was transport system? Well, this is me, just trying to hazard a guess. Let's take a look at the next post. There's one more, and then we'll wrap up that particular one. Hashtag Amechi. One more post. Yeah, this is it. KC says, Amechi, you are actually a good person. As a former Minister of Transport, you did well, but I doubt you can defeat Tinubu. I wish you the best. Nwako Emmanuel says, congratulations, sir. Democracy at play. No consensus candidate. Waiting for the money bag primaries. Oh my gosh. You don't know what Emmanuel is alluding to, don't you? Well, on that note, we'll take it away from the ADC now. Let's swing this pendulum down the way of the NDC. So Peter Obi, presidential hopeful on the platform of the NDC, was on a televised interview, and he's making headlines as we speak. He said a number of things, but chief of which is most talked about is this one, that he's just going to do one term. That is a one-term president. It's just 4 years he's seeking for, that even if he's under duress, he is not going to do more than 4 years. We've had supporters like Aisha Yusufu saying that she's going to campaign against him if he dares says he's going to, do more than one term and all. So he's actually sticking his head out this time around, and he's saying it openly, and he's daring Nigerians to hold him by his words. But some netizens are saying the rot in Nigeria is too deep, that it can't be sorted out in just 4 years. Hey, others are saying, cut him some slack, give him the benefit of the doubt. So I take you to X now, so take a look at the very first post, and then we'll see how netizens are reacting. Peter Obi pledges single 4-year term in candid TV interview. In the interview on 60 Minutes with Mr. K, the former Labour Party candidate and now NDC member criticized President Tinubu's government for massive borrowing that has made Nigeria the hungriest country, while accusing INEC of bias under Professor Mahmoud Yakubu's leadership. Obi, who defected to the NDC with Rabiu Kwankwaso, called for a wealth-creating leader and said everyone in Nigeria faces disabilities amid the hardships. Supporters praised his frankness on debt and elections, though critics questioned his one-term pledge and a remark on disabilities, as clips from the Thursday interview fueled online discussion ahead of 2027. So let's take a look at a sneak peek now of how this debate is raging online. Nigeria Story is also jumping on it, and it says, I want to be, quote, I want to be a one-term president because of stability. I would not stay a day longer, even with a gun to my head, end of quote. Peter Obi said that. The next post. So Dimeji says, remember this quote, because if Peter Obi wins the presidential election in 2027, the opposition party won't allow him achieve his aims for 4 years. Dimeji thinks there are going to be roadblocks that would mean that Peter Obi will have to stay beyond 4 years. Well, he just said it. He's not going to do it. The NDC, his party, already said it, that it's going to be for 4 years for the South, after which the North is going to take over. According to the NDC, it's a done deal. It's signed, sealed, and delivered. There are 2 more reactions, and then we'll wrap this up. This is Octopus. Octopus says, let's be real here. The decay in the system called Nigeria is too rotten to be fixed even in 10 years. It can only start with an intentional restructuring, constitution amendment, and a whole lot of rehabilitation for her citizens. You can't serve and restructure in 4 years to leave. How about passing the baton, if there's a blueprint, like it was done in Lagos years back? There's a blueprint, you could lay a foundation and pass the baton to a successor. That's a possibility, right? Well, we'll take a look at one more reaction and then we'll wrap it up and move on to #MoneyRain. This is Nwabweze C. Okonkwo, who says, 2027 is the turn of the South, after which power will return to the North. Well, that's in the voice of the NDC, really, because that's what Seriaki Dixon said, the national leader of the NDC. But Okonkwo goes on to say, everyone must keep this zoning agreement between the North and the South. And that's how we're wrapping up that particular hashtag. Now, talking about zoning, you heard how former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, also on a televised interview, had come out to say zoning is not even anything legit. And that's why his party, the ADC, is not zoning to the South or whatever. There's going to be, a free-for-all, and the best man wins. He said that it was only in the PDP that there was a zoning formula because of how big the party was and how homogeneous it was and all. But on-air personality Rufai Oseni, very popular not too long ago, had come out to say that was it not the same former Vice President Atiku Abubakar who took Jonathan to court because he said he had not followed the zoning formula and all of that? So that is a huge debate raging. In fact, we had the ADC Deputy Publicity Secretary, Financial Secretary, Honorable Ladimeji, right here on hashtag, say he came on to say that the ADC has nothing like zoning, that, hey, everybody's going to contest and then the best man will win. So it looks like they're sticking to their guns. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Of course, we'll keep you posted as events unfold. This next video you're going to be seeing is hashtag MoneyRain. Kudos goes to my colleague OBO, one of our editors here, who happened to capture this clip. It's a scoop. Not too far from where we are, somewhere around Ajao Estate, there was a money rain some days ago. And according to the fillers we get, it was a member of the APC that came to distribute cash to supporters. At first glance, you think it's people involved in fisticuffs, like it's a violent thing. But hey, when money is involved, people could get violent, I can tell you that. So I'm just giving you a heads up. It's a couple of videos. Just watch closely and have it at the back of your mind that it was politicians distributing monies to supporters ahead 2027. So it looks like this thing about money politics or stomach infrastructure looks like it's not going away anytime soon. Let's take a look at the video. That's it.
Tinubu with that.
Which Tinubu?
Now Tinubu did the
Now FP said that maybe they're going to campaign for him now. See people.
They share money.
They don't give money. Hey, see motor.
What's happening?
What's happening?
Now money, now maybe now you call it now so campaign money they give.
They don't come up for
They don't give
road
him
now.
money. Not say they don't give him money. They go fight him.
Why they know you fight am?
Why you go? Maybe they will answer why you go pay money for APC.
Now them now.
They don't come up
Now
for
so
road now.
campaign money they give. Now they go then they shoot guns first. Buy the
This
money.
side they is now they shop money. Hi.
For what? You don't see them when we pass.
That means all these ones said no be. Let's say just tell them say that they come here.
At the years in Tinubu so now buy this hotel.
This data.
At the years in Tinubu buy am.
Don't mean it.
Now year at the year.
If na yes, all this
Now
are
he will be, now he will be. Now because it not be him. They do this.
now APC na enter.
Just like this our
And APC campaign now.
God dey do this one for you. Someone no go green now.
You know agree now.
Someone no agree.
So take a look at it. They're actually struggling. Yeah. Take a look. It looks like it was gonna degenerate into some kind of a fighting or something, but I'm glad nobody was hurt at the end of the day. But does this just not lend credence to what I keep referring to her, because what she said hits so close to home, talking about the Director General of the World Trade Organization, WTO, Ngozi Kunja-Iweala, who once upon a time had said that politicians in Nigeria have weaponized poverty. Or else, why would people be struggling to the extent that it looks at the moment? It looks like they were gonna go head to head. But hey, that was just a scope. I wanted to let you know that this is what you should be watching out for as a 2027 draws near. Now we'll take a break. When we come back, Justice Crack, you know him, the influencer, aka activist, who has been in jail for a while now because of what he said about welfare regarding the military that they weren't well taken care of. Well, he was picked up. The case is in court, but he's been incarcerated. But today, he was in court. And what's trending is, okay, let me not let the cat out of the bag. Stay with me, yeah? I'll be right back after this break. Don't
Nigeria, with its complex political atmosphere, divergent views, and discordant views, better still, coming with bass bows. Only one question matters: who really has the best candidate? Something is here. 5 political camps, 1 stage, no filters. Join us in this clash as supporters of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar, Omoyele Sowore, and Adewale Adebayo go head to head in no holds barred town hall debate. No script, just raw, unfiltered conversation. This is more than politics. This is where opinions clash, facts are tested, and the truth fights to be heard. happening live on May 22nd by 11 a.m. at Golden Tulip Terrace Hall, Ihoka Tower, 36 International Airport Road, Lagos. Don't miss it. Watch live on YouTube at VOPTV. Set your reminder, subscribe, join the conversation. My candidate is the best, or is it? Are you looking for where to buy quality and original studio and musical equipment in Nigeria? Welcome to Ihoka Online, Nigeria's biggest musical and sound equipment warehouse. Your trusted home for top global brands, reliable low-priced alternatives, and 100% original musical accessories. With over 16 locations nationwide and open 7 days a week, we deliver unbeatable service and customer support you can count on. Shop online at ihoka.com in partnership with world-renowned brands like Wolfdale Pro, Prisoners, Twile Keyboards, Fender and Jackson Guitars, Marshall Amplification, Mapex Acoustic Drum Set, Tech Electronic Drums and Accessories, Evans Drumheads, Ashdown Engineering, and many more. Ihoka Online, powering your sound with quality you can trust.
Welcome to Romeo Pizza. Sink your teeth into our freshly baked pizzas. Loaded with rich sauce, melted cheese, and irresistible toppings. Where every bite is a love story. Treat yourself to our creamy, dreamy ice cream. Smooth, sweet, and made to brighten your day. Or maybe you want it hot and satisfying. Our juicy shawarma is wrapped to perfection, packed with flavor in every mouthful. Pizza, ice cream, shawarma. Why choose one when you can have it all? Romeo Pizza has exactly what your taste buds desire.
Welcome, guys. It is hashtag on VOP TV. And if you just joined us, I am Vivian Uguchi, and of course, we still have gist for you. So stick around. This is where I got to tell you all things trending on X, social media, especially on X. So I was telling you about Justice Crack, the influencer. He's also an activist. He's been cooling his feet in jail now because he's been going head to head with the army. He had, put up a post regarding the welfare of soldiers that the army, the brass, didn't feel palatable. They didn't think it was palatable. So he was picked up and he's been incarcerated ever since. Activists like Mama P and others, Peter Aka, have been, advocating on his behalf and asking that he be released. So he was in court today, and this is what is trending. His kid, his tiny, chubby, beautiful-looking kid was brought to the court for him to see because he's not seen the baby for some time now. And it was such a beautiful moment. Let me take you to X now so you see the very first post and then the video. netizens are just gushing over the affair. There's a post. Can we take a look at the post first?
Justice. We love you. We love you. They say we love you. God bless you. Don't worry, you cannot crack justice.
So that's it, basically. Justice has been surrounded by his colleagues, activists like Peter Aka. It was Peter Aka that you saw who brought Justice's kid to him to hold and cuddle for some few minutes before the baby was taken away from him. Gosh, that must be painful, I can tell you. Oh, yeah, but he was smiling and he looked okay. So maybe he's not being tortured. Maybe he's been taken good. I mean, he's taken care of. Of course, all of these are questions we're going to be asking eventually if justice comes out. I'll bring you details of how that particular hearing went, and of course, when justice is going to be coming out, and if he's going to be found guilty or not. On that note, we'll take you to the next hashtag now, which is hashtag Obafemi. You remember Obafemi, the one who has reunited wrestling, or the one who has revitalized the love for wrestling in Nigeria. He was local, but he's gone global. He started in Lagos here, Unilag, really, started competing in Lagos here, and then he's now gone global, and we saw him win the belt not too long ago, if you like wrestling. But today, he's not talking sports, he's not talking wrestling, he's talking Bible. He's going biblical, and he's talking about his pastor and how religion has grounded him. There's a post by Yaba Left Online that's it. Yaba Left Online says, quote, "My pastor is a very respectable man. His name is Femi Paul. He said many wise things to me when tension was building up between me and my dad. My entire church community came together to raise money for me to move to the USA. Shout out to Grace Assembly," end of quote. Nigerian wrestler Oba Femi. So lots of people are saying, anti-church people will now come and say, so the church doesn't really do anything for people except to take money. But that Obafemi's story says otherwise. There's a video. Why don't you take a listen to him?
He was a very respectable man. His name is Femi Paul. He said a lot of wise things to me. You know, he when tensions were building between like me and my dad, he would always like step in and be like, "He's your father. He loves you." He was a very good guardian to me. Matter of fact, my entire like church community, you know, they came together to raise money too when I was coming over to the States. Which shout out to Grace Assembly. Oh, wow. But yeah, that community and Femi Paul as our leader, you know, our Christian father, he helped me a lot. He said a lot of wise things to me that stuck with me. You know.
What's one of them?
He told me never to disrespect my parents. You know, that's a big one. A lot of people say things out of anger and, you know, resentment, frustration. Sure. And he always, you know, he made that a point, because like parents are the ones who are going to bless you when you go, you know, into the world. And I do believe that. Mm-hmm. My life is what it is. I strongly believe because my parents pray and they put positivity into my life, blessings into my life. So I'm going to do well. So, yeah, Femi Paul was a huge inspiration for me.
You heard it from the big guy himself. So there are reactions, a couple of them. We'll just take a look at a couple of them and we'll wrap up this particular one. That's Nigerian wrestler Oba Femi. Chuk says he didn't forget his root. Nice one, Oba Femi. And thanks to Pastor Femi Paul and All Grace Assembly. Rod of Correction says that's one thing the church was built for: support, encouragement where necessary. I agree. Let me lend my voice, or let me join my voice to this. This is what the church should do. I mean, remember the first century apostles or Christians, followers of Christ. They will gather. In fact, if they had properties, they will go sell it and bring it to the church and share for everybody equally. So if you had a need, the place to go was the church, right? If you were hungry and you had no food, or if you were homeless, or if you needed money to pay bills or tuition, you just go to the church. And they were doing it wholeheartedly. And I'm hoping that really the church will remember where we came from. On that note, let me quickly show you what's happening with Justice Crack. Let me give you the lowdown as regards his case in court and how it went today. This is just taking you a little bit back so that we will have heads up. So there was a clash between lawyers, right? Activist Justice Crack, detained since early May over videos exposing soldiers' poor welfare, like eating from shared buckets, saw his bail hearing collapse Thursday at Abuja's Federal High Court. Lead lawyer Marshal Abubakar withdrew mid-proceedings due to a conflict of interest and pressure from fellow counsel, prompting Judge Abdul Malik to strike the application and adjourn to May 18. The fallout led to courtroom chaos, crowd confrontation outside, and renewed protests by Omoyele Sowore, highlighting fractures in activist ranks amid the hashtag Free Justice Crack push. So if you understand this post, it means because of Justice Clark's lawyers, his case was adjourned. They couldn't come to an agreement. And VDM was online to say what he saw was just an ego clash, you know, and that, I mean, they should get their acts together. And I'm hoping the lawyers really will get their acts together and get Justice Crack out so he could cuddle his baby some more. On that note, we'll wrap it up. Thanks to everybody who contributed to making the show a success. But the bigger thanks goes to you guys for watching. Well, if you had fun, join me again for another edition of Hashtag, same time, same station. Until then, I am Vivian Obuche, and bye for now.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Arpehon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 20 minutes off, please discuss.
This is African News on Voice of the People television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeats, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People television. Stay with us.
Hello, my name is Inedo. Keep watching VOP TV.
What up? My name is Usimachiku. You are watching VOP TV. Keep it locked.
Hello, I am Floyd Igbo. Keep watching VOP TV.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing good. Keep watching VOP TV. And, just have an amazing day. Thank you.
Hi, guys. It's your boy Praise. Keep watching VOP TV.
He started as a graphic designer with a dream and a guitar, Adekule Kusoko, AG Baby, Adekule Gold. In 2015, one cover of One Direction's Story of My Life, Now Sade, changed everything. Then came Gold, Urban High Life, Had a New King, songs about love, faith, and hustle that felt like folklore for a new generation. Then he evolved. Afropop Tio Tequila, Catch Me If You Can, Tequila Ever After, High Five Star, Party No They Stop with Sino Sleeky. He traded Agbada for Amiri, but kept the soul. From gentle lover boy to global showman, without losing the pen. Singer, songwriter, painter, father, Adekunle Gold proves reinvention is an art, that you can honor your roots and still conquer new worlds. This is Adekunle Gold, forever classic.
If I had known the life I was searching for was already my own.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We bring in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
It's your girl Arika of the Dimples, aka Risky Baby, and you are watching VOP TV. Do not go anywhere. Where are you going to? Stay here. Calm down. Stay here if you're not.
What's up, everybody? Who's Ariko here, and I'm hanging out on VOP TV. Keep it locked. Don't go nowhere. Let's go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Yvonne Jagada. You are watching VOP TV, and don't change the dial, because I said so.
Who's happy to post? I mean, who's happy the most? Because when shit goes south, y'all be happy to ghost. When you make a wrong move, they be happy to roast. But be careful when you win, who's not happy to toast. I am VJ Adams, and you rock with VOP TV. Don't move.
Hi, people. Bisola here, and you are watching VOP TV. Mwah.
Shout out to VOP TV. It's so good to have you on the red carpet of AV. Love you all. Wishing you all the best.
Here's a shout out to VOP TV. It's your girl April Oshidikwe at the AV premiere. You know what it is.
Hi everyone, my name is Linda Ejiofor Suleiman, and I'm live at the EV premiere. Keep watching VOP TV.
I want to say hello to my Italian friends. I want to say them that Nigeria is the best country in the world, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Hi guys, my name is Tomo Atebe. I'm an actor, and you guys are live on VOP TV. Keep it locked, because I said so.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is your girl Folu Storms out here, and this is a big shout out to VOP TV.
Hi guys, my name is Charles Bourne.
My name is Lydia Lawrence, and
please keep watching Voice of the People Television. Love ya.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news, we analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
Good evening, Africa. My name is Makinde'S, actor, model, producer, and I'm giving a big shout out to VOP TV, man. Keep watching. Don't change the dial. Thank you and God bless you.
My name is AY, and of course, I represent the voice of the people, and that's why I'm on VOP. AY say so.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Miriam Tima from the Real Housewives of Lagos and the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Africa. Shout out to VOP, the voice of the people. You already know. Stay tuned, keep watching. And don't forget, VOP is the best.
All right, hello, all right, it's about that shagging man fine back with Melanie Poppy Black Skin Boy. This is VOP TV. If you're not watching VOP, I don't know what you're watching. Maybe you're watching your weight.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Wale Ojo, and you're watching VOP, Voice of the People.
Hi, guys. You already know who it is. This is New Energy. Flyers boy ever live. Keep watching VOP TV. Thank you.
Hi, people. Jenny Albano here. Guys, please keep watching Voice of the People.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as they hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before. To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Arpelion. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People Television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 20 minutes off, please discuss.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeat, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy. VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
And original musical accessories with over 16 locations nationwide and open 7 days a week. We deliver unbeatable service and customer support you can count on. Shop online at iruka.com in partnership with world-renowned brands like Wolfdale Pro, Prisoners, Twile Keyboards, Fender and Jackson Guitars, Marshall Amplification, Mapex Acoustic Drum Set, Tech Electronic Drums and Accessories, Evans Drumheads, Ashdown Engineering, and many more. Iruka Online, powering your sound with quality you can trust.
Hello and welcome to News Hour on Voice of the People TV. I am Vivian Oguche.
And I am Nenna Ndomdioto. Before we begin the news, kindly visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Here are the headlines. Tinubu invites Guinea's president for state visits to Nigeria.
Also, Tinubu urges consensus, fair play, and warns against rancor.
Makinde joins 2027 presidential race.
Also, Atiku and Mechi Malami submit nomination ADC forms.
Former Ondo Governor Mimiko joins APC.
ADC slams federal government over fresh loan.
On the foreign scene, UK Health Secretary Streeting steps down.
Well, in business news, SEC warns Nigerians against fake investment schemes on social media.
In sports, Amusho thankful after Ted Hurdle's win.
Well, in entertainment news now, Ghanaian filmmakers bring cross-cultural storytelling to Lagos.
Now the news in details. President Bola Tinubu has invited Guinea's leader Mamadi Doumbouya for a state visit to Nigeria, following a bilateral meeting on the sidelines of the Africa CEO Forum in Kigali. The invitation was disclosed by the president's special advisor on media and publicity, Sunday Dare, while briefing journalists after the engagement. The Africa CEO Forum in Kigali brings together more than 2,500 business and policy leaders for discussions on economic cooperation and investment across the continent. According to Dare, both leaders discussed expanding economic ties, particularly in Guinea's mining and metal sector, which he said presents major opportunities for partnership with Nigeria. He added that the meeting opened a new chapter in the bilateral cooperation between both countries, especially in natural resources development.
Well, away from that report, President Bola Tinubu has urged all Progressive Congress APC members to embrace unity and sportsmanship as nationwide primaries begin, warning against any conduct that could weaken the party ahead of the 2026 general elections. In a statement marking the start of the exercise from House of Representatives primaries on May 15 to the presidential primary on May 25, Tinubu described the process as a referendum on our unity, resilience, and strengths as a party. The president also cautioned winners against gloating while urging those who lose to accept outcomes with grace and prepare for future contests. He directed party leaders, governors, and officials to ensure a level playing field throughout the process.
In another development, Seyi Makinde has declared his intention to contest the 2027 presidential election under an alliance between the People's Democratic Party and the Allied People's Movement. Makinde made the declaration at a rally in Ibadan following the signing of an agreement between the two parties. Under the agreement, candidates from the crisis-hit faction of the PDP in Oyo State will contest the 2027 elections on the platform of the APM. The governor said the alliance has disproved claims that the opposition would be unable to field candidates in 2027. He also urged opposition members to remain united ahead of the elections. Makinde added that the PDP-APM alliance will present candidates for all elective positions in 2027 before formally declaring its presidential ambition under the coalition.
Meanwhile, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, says there is no alliance between the Allied People's Movement and the People's Democratic Party. He was responding to reports suggesting a political alliance between both parties, which he dismissed as the imagination of some politicians, and the situation involving Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara, who was recently rumored to have left the APC before reaffirming his loyalty to the party. Wike said he was not aware of any internal crisis affecting the governor, noting that Fubara is not a member of his party. He added that he prefers to focus on and address issues within the PDP.
Still talking politics, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, an African Democratic Congress presidential aspirant, has submitted his nomination form at the party's National Secretariat in Abuja amid heavy crowd congestion that disrupted proceedings. Atiku reportedly struggled to access the submission desk due to a large and rowdy gathering of supporters and party officials. Security operatives later intervened to clear a path after part of the entrance door was damaged. He was unable to address journalists or supporters after the submission and was swiftly escorted out by security aides. Former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, was also present at the Secretariat and faced similar crowd challenges while submitting his nomination form. Earlier, former Rivers State Governor Rotimi Amechi had also submitted his presidential nomination form, urging Nigerians to prioritize competence in leadership choices.
Elsewhere, former Ondo State Governor Olusegun Mimiko has officially joined the All Progressives Congress APC. Mimiko, who governed Ondo State between 2009 and 2016, resigned from the People's Democratic Party in April. He was received into the APC at Ward 7 in Ondo West local government area on Thursday. Welcoming him to the party, Ondo State APC chairman Kolawole Babatunde described Mimiko as a progressive. The event was attended by party leaders, cabinet members of the Ondo State government, and principal officers of the State House of Assembly.
Away from that, the African Democratic Congress, ADC, has accused the administration of President Bola Tinubu of running what it described as a Ponzi economy, following moves to secure a $1.25 billion World Bank loan amid Nigeria's rising public debt, estimated at about 159.28 trillion naira. The opposition party said the new loan request has deepened concerns over the country's debt burden at a time many Nigerians are facing high food prices, inflation, unemployment, and worsening living conditions. The allegation was contained in a statement by the party's National Publicity Secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, who said the government continues to borrow heavily without visible improvements in citizens' welfare. The ADC also warned the rising debt servicing obligations projected for 2026 could limit funds available for development.
Now to legal matters. The Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the final forfeiture of assets linked to former Acting Accountant General of the Federation, Anamekwe Nwabuku, following his conviction for money laundering. In March, the court sentenced Nwabuku to 72 years in prison after finding him guilty on all 9 counts filed against him. Justice James Omotosho held that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, proved its case against the defendant. Nwabuku was sentenced to 8 years on each count, amounting to a cumulative 72-year jail term. He was prosecuted over money laundering and fraud involving 868.4 million naira.
We now move on to Lagos State, where the state government says it is changing its waterfront development model from one-time developer payment to long-term land sharing arrangement aimed at boosting revenue. The Ministry of Waterfront Infrastructure Development says the new approach will also strengthen regulation and speed up infrastructure delivery across the state. Our correspondent, Onyeka Ogolo, reports.
Developments are managed and financed. The Ministry of Waterfront Infrastructure Development says instead of collecting flat fees from developers, government will now adopt a land sharing formula designed to increase long-term revenue. Officials say the new model became necessary following a sharp increase in land values across reclaimed waterfront communities.
The role of government was not unlike how everybody thinks. They seem to think it's to create problems. But the role of government is to provide solutions to problems. There were some people owing huge amounts of money. And I also felt, along with the team, felt that we needed to look at things from another perspective. But the perspective from which we had looked at things, we felt we were making money for the state, but we really were not. For example, when somebody pays 10 billion, that is a huge sum of money to go into the government's pocket. But I use Shoreline, for example. Shoreline, I don't know if we all know Shoreline Island in Ikoyi. When we were sworn in, it was said $1 billion at 1 million naira per square meter. Let's close our eyes and imagine that they had paid us 10 billion. Yes, that would have been a lot of money. But at that time, as of September 13th, 2023, they were selling at 1 billion. 15 months later, the same land, no different infrastructure, except for what had been done, started to sell at 4.5 million. 4.5 million per square meter, which brings it to 4.5 billion at 1,000 square meters. So imagine if they had paid Lagos State 10 billion and they had, let's even say 100 plots. That would have just been the cost of 2.5 plots of land. And we felt, it was better to have a sharing formula that would be fair to the proponents and also beneficial to the state. As against 10 billion, imagine if Lagos State had 20 plots of land that sold at 4.5 billion plots. Lagos would have been raking home around about 90 billion naira.
Using the Shoreline Island project as an example, the ministry says land values rose significantly within 15 months, making the old revenue structure less beneficial to the state. According to the officials, the new arrangement could generate up to 9 billion naira from projects that previously returned only 10 billion naira. The ministry also says it's reviewing infrastructure priorities by reducing the mandatory construction of bridges on every new island project. Government says the focus will now be on practical transportation options, including improved water transportation system based on commuter demand and ridership data. The ministry also announced tighter regulation on dredging and sand filling activities across the state. Officials say all dredging oversight has now been moved under the Waterfront Infrastructure Ministry to ensure operators take responsibility for damage roads linked to their activities. Government also plans to convert underutilized jetties, including Bariga Jetty, into commercial hubs such as modern fish markets. While applications for new waterfront developments continue to increase, officials insist that future reclamation projects will undergo stricter environmental and economic assessments. The state says the goal is to balance development with environmental sustainability. The ministry adds that discussions are ongoing with international finance partners to expand water transportation infrastructure as passengers' demand continues to grow across Lagos waterways. From Alausa Ikeja, I am Onyeka Ogolo, reporting for Voice of the People TV.
Well, Onyeka, thank you. Joining us virtually now to analyze these stories is Somi Oranta. Somi is a public affairs analyst, and it's such a pleasure to have you join us today, Somi. Welcome.
Good evening.
It's good to see you, sir. So President Bola Tinubu has invited Guinea's leader, Mamadi, for a state visit to Nigeria following a bilateral meeting on the sidelines of the Africa CEO Forum in Kigali. So this forum in Kigali brings together more than 2,500 business and policy leaders for discussions on economic cooperation and investment across the continent. But for you, Somi, personally, what would you like to see come out of this bilateral agreement between these two countries ahead the state visit?
Yes, well, for a change, let us at least have an African or a world leader, another president visit our own country, visit our president, because we are wondering, how come our president is going to France, going to Rwanda, going to the UK, everywhere, without any of these presidents, any of these leaders paying a reciprocal visit to him? So, at least for a change, let's have the Guinean president visit. But what question one will ask is, of what use is that president to Nigeria? Of what use is Guinea to Nigeria? The giant of Africa, only Guinea, just Guinea. I'm not talking down on the Guineans or the people of Guinea, but we expected more. But well, if you can't get all that you want, whatever comes, you take it like that. But I believe that Nigeria should have the clout to invite a first world, country's leader to visit Nigeria. It's not only only Nigerian leader that will be going to other countries, paying visits over and over and over again. How come Emmanuel Macron has not come to visit Nigeria? How come the British Prime Minister has not come to visit Nigeria? At the behest of our own president. I have not come visiting, or a South African leader. Some first classmen in Africa, first class, first-rated presidents. Why can't they come? So, like I said, if you cannot get to the mountain, if you fall on the hill, at least it's something. So let's take it that way.
Okay, one of the things that was said about this particular meeting is that they'll be discussing expanding economic ties, particularly in Guinea's mining and metals and sector. When you look at this mining and metal sector, do you think that there's any major opportunity that this would actually bring for Nigeria?
You see, Nigerian mining sector, to what extent have we been able to optimize it? What have we done with what we have? We've not been able to develop our own. What are we doing with the mining sector in Guinea? What are we doing there? For me, I think that the president just haven't looked around. Maybe others, are forming busy. And this is the one that can agree to come. He said, my friend, come and visit me. At least let somebody reciprocate, my continuous, travel around the globe. Because there's no reason. What are the things that we have? Is it the population? Is it the mineral resources? Nigeria is such a huge country with so much mineral deposits, plus human beings. Like I always say, the blessing and all that Nigeria has, the most part of it, the most interesting part of it is the population. A huge and active population, 230 million plus. We should be able to use what we have. Going to Guinea and bringing them. We've not been able to develop our own industry, our mining industry. Is it the Guinean want to go and develop or take advantage of? Please, Fela will say second base, Jerry.
Second base, Jerry. Well, let's talk some politics now, Somi. So President Bola Tinubu has urged all Progressive Congress members to embrace unity and sportsmanship as nationwide primaries begin, warning against any conduct that could weaken the party ahead of the 2026 general elections. I don't know, Sami, what good do you think this is going to do, considering the fact that all over the nation, there are murmurings in different camps within the APC. Not so long ago, we saw what happened in Rivers State, where we heard that the sitting governor had a hard time being screened. I don't know if you're saying something already, Sami. Let's have your say.
Yeah, you see, we have said it severally that we are not practicing democracy. We are not. It's got to do with democracy. People should be able to aspire, get voted for, present themselves, and they are voted for. This tradition or culture of Baba Sokwe, what Baba has said, will never take us anywhere. You know, it kills excellence. The spirit of excellence is killed or sacrificed at the altar of nepotism, altar of man no man, altar of paraquoism. We should allow people aspire to where they want to go to, do things accordingly. There's too much, how do I put it now? Too much of a situation where people have to decide what they want for the people. Let the people decide what they want. No man is so wise that he knows more than everyone else. So one person should not arrogate divine honors, divinity unto himself. Let the people decide what they want. You cannot begin to, finger point the people you want for one pecuniary reason or the other into positions when others who could do the job better are there. You are killing their sense of excellence. You are destroying the system entirely. So, well, I think the party APC has been helping, like what the president said, what, the joke he made to Akpabio, to send him to the other parties, if need be, to go and be causing confusion and help them scatter themselves. Or what Femi Gbajabiamila, the chief of staff to the president, also was telling somebody that he should remain in ADC and be scattering them, be causing confusion, causing problem. But you see, the world is like a mirror. Whatever you show to it, it will reflect back that exactly what you show back to you. So I won't be surprised if there's going to be an implosion in even the APC, because what goes around comes around.
What goes around comes around. But let's still talking politics. Let's move on to a new development. Seyi Makinde has declared his intention to contest the 2027 presidential election under an alliance between the People's Democratic Party and the Allied People's Movement. One would say we have many frontliners, and it looks like Seyi Makinde has joined this the number of persons, including Atiku Abubakar and all of that. But what do you make of this particular declaration by Seyi Makinde?
I think it's a good thing. People who have ambition should express their ambition. We shouldn't kill our dreams and our aspirations or allow someone else to dim the light that will tend to shine to the world. It was Napoleon Bonaparte who said that great men are meteors sent to burn that the earth may be lit. So those that God has sent to come and display what they have, to come and serve people, should not be stopped from doing so for no reason whatsoever. Let them go to the poll. Let the citizens of Nigeria accept or reject them. Nobody should to become so powerful that you stop others from exercising their own ambitions, because man is an ambitious animal. Man is a political animal. So it's good that that alliance has been formed. I pray he comes up. The more the merrier. That I should say.
All right. Let's talk about this alliance a little bit and what Seyi Makinde's candidacy means for President Tinubu's re-election or his re-election bid in 2027. There are permutations now that this is going to be a huge spoiler for the president, because Seyi Makinde is going to divide the votes in the southwest region. Do you think it's going to pose much of a danger for the president?
Well, it's not. There's nothing new about it. After Goodluck Ebele Jonathan is also being drafted in, to also divide the votes of some other aspirants. So it's like that. Let Makinde go in. Let more people go in. Let them, like I said, the more the merrier. Let the people of Nigeria decide who they want. Nobody should be shut out of it. No manner of subterfuge, no political shenanigans, or even political brigandage to stop anybody from aspiring, nor stop Nigerians from voting who they want. Look, I keep saying it. What happened in 2023 should not repeat itself in 2027. Because, like I said, even a very docile pliant sheep, when pushed to the wall, there might be a pushback. And when that pushback starts, we won't be able to, we can only know how it starts, but how it will end, we cannot tell. So people should be allowed to express themselves. The sacredness and the sanctity of the ballot must be respected. I keep saying it. And I won't stop saying it.
Okay, let's look at what Nyesom Wike is saying. Nyesom Wike is actually talking about this alliance with PDP and APM, and he's saying that there's no such thing. They actually called it fraud, that there's no such thing between Allied People's Movement and the People's Democratic Party. There's been a back and forth between who actually controls PDP. Is it the Wike's faction or is it the Shea Makinde'S faction? And now Wike is coming to say that this so-called alliance between them is nothing to write home about. I don't know what you make of that.
Well, Wike should stop playing what I will call feign naivety. He knows very well that there is issues in PDP. He has insisted, using his influence, with the judiciary and the powers that be, to ensure that PDP, the party remains comatose. They have said that the convention held in Ibadan it should not be recognized by INEC, even the court. So he cannot be saying, when he say it's not aware of it, he's talking about his own faction of PDP, which unfortunately seems to be the one that the law in Nigeria recognizes. But that they recognize its own does not invalidate the other ones. They may not contest under PDP, but they have the right to join any other party that they have done to form an alliance and come up, for the elections. Because we has stated earlier on that it doesn't want PDP to field a candidate that will challenge Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president. But now they are turning around to try to field Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. And I have said, just like many other people have been saying, that if Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, the ex-president of Nigeria, that handed over to late General Buhari, if we dare go into that race, he will come out with bloodied nose. He can never come out unscathed because he will be so beaten that he will regret ever trying that. Because the man do not have any base in the Niger Delta. And the Igbos helped him, Southeast helped him so much, they queued behind him. So if he allow himself to be recruited to fight, to try to spoil the chances of other people who helped him, he may not be able to get 25% in South and Southeast. That I can assure you.
All right, so you mentioned the late General Buhari. Now, someone who is started to have inherited his legendary 12 million votes is former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Himself and former Rivers State Governor, former Transport Minister Rotimi Amechi, as well as former AGF Malami Abubakar, today submitted their ADC nomination forms in Abuja, and it was a mammoth crowd and all. Now, there's been talks that since the defection of Peter Obi and Kwankwaso from the ADC to the NDC, that the wind has been taken out of the sails of the ADC. But But it doesn't look like it, because today we saw that there was a huge crowd, so much so that the former vice president couldn't even make it, almost did not make it to submitting his form. What do you make of this?
Let me tell you something. In Nigeria, we don't judge by the crowd. We do not judge by the crowd, because the Nigerian crowd are most of the time rented crowd. Those that have deep pockets can easily rent a crowd. They come a dime a dozen crowds. So that is why all my life I have said I don't want to belong to the masses. I don't want to be, the hoi polloi that have no mind. That hates mentality. Wherever they are asked, the puppeteer pushes them to, that's where they go to. So what about the crowd? It is obvious that ADC has lost that challenging verve they used to have since the exit of the OK movement. So, but it's okay, let them also come. But one candidate there that, I always feel amused when I hear about him trying to say he wants to rule Nigeria. It's Rotimi Amechi. Fatiku Abubakar, okay, let him try his luck. At least this should be the 5th or the 6th time. But for Rotimi Amechi, who is there talking about competence, I don't know what kind of competence he's talking about. Because this man had the chances of doing things. In fact, he couldn't do what he said. That competence was not put on display when he was the Minister of Transportation. He was one that built railway that didn't have the common sense to add security equipment, surveillance equipment. The first train hijack in Nigeria, if I'm not wrong, was the Abuja Kaduna train hijack. With all the money they collected, he rather built the train railway lines into Niger Republic. Without building, even in River State where he left, he started a monorail. He could not connect rail line to Niger Delta. So he too does not have a base. Look, he does not have a base. He does not show competence in the time he worked there, because he's aspiring for president, so to become a president of Nigeria. But I'm one of those that will oppose him, that will go out of my way to oppose him. Rather than a man like I will queue behind Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a man who has big mind, very strong mind, a man who happened to drive the Atlantic Ocean at the Victoria Island, the Bar Beach, drive it 1.5 miles back into the sea. Such a man is a strong man. Just that I don't know why he's not, shown all that dexterity in his governance, even though I know he's very, very high on politics. So, but not a man like Amechi. But I like Atiku Abubakar, yes. Let him try his luck, maybe the 5th or the 6th time. Who knows? Who knows?
Okay, let's move on to happenings in Ondo State, where Governor Mimiko has officially joined the All Progressive Congress. I don't know what you make of this particular decision by Mimiko. Would you say that he has actually positioned himself well by joining APC away from PDP?
Well, I don't know. He knows everybody knows where the side his bread is buttered. So it's up to him. He feels it's in APC that he will be able to actualize his ambition. So be it. But I know that most of these parties in Nigeria do not really have any idea